You are listening to the Workbench After Hours podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to the Second Amendment, where we talk about firearms. This week we are talking about, finally heard, got a result of the election, so we're going to talk about that and how it's probably going to affect the Second Amendment and everything in the gun community over the next 4 years. Before we do that, Chris, what do we got? What's a whiskey this week?
It is Evan Williams Single Barrel. So I was sitting here looking at the back, and it's like barreled. It actually gives you like the date they barreled it and bottled it on. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, you want to read off those dates?
So it was barreled on January 21st, 2014, and it was bottled March 30th of 2022. So
yeah, I've
about
had
8 years.
Yeah, I've had this bottle since 2023. It's been sitting on the shelf, so it's aged a little bit longer than from when they bottled it. So I actually found another bottle recently when I was down in Texas. So I'm like, well, we'll go ahead and crack this one open. The one I bought recently in Texas was about $39. I don't remember what I paid for this one because it was so long ago. But this is one I found in, what's that town?
Paducah.
Paducah, Kentucky. Yep.
We know that town very well.
Exactly. So yeah, it's like Evan Williams, and like, of course, like any single barrel, Evan Williams, they take a bunch of barrels and mix together to get a consistent taste. Well, anything labeled single barrel is obviously going to be one barrel. So each batch or each barrel that they use is going to be a slightly different taste.
Yep.
So this one is probably going to be slightly different than the one I just bought. So I got to compare the dates. I'm sure that one's got to be newer.
Yeah,
that I
probably.
have downstairs. So I got to check that. But so it was slightly varied, which is nice. So far, any single barrel we've had, we've liked.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this is going to end up being. And 86.6 proof, so nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Evan Williams obviously is known for just a smooth drinker, nothing too crazy. So interested in trying this guy out. Nose, really just getting caramel.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of vanilla. It has the scent has a higher proof smell to me.
You think so?
Yeah, like it smells like 100 proof.
All right,
because you get that little bit of burn.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting most of.
Okay, I'm getting a lot of caramel and a little bit of oak and charred wood.
Yeah,
not overbearing or anything like that, but
interesting.
I would say it's a little spicy, like not a lot, but there's a little spice to it.
Spice on the back end, and then it's there, and it slowly like dissipates away.
Yeah. So on their website, lush and spicy, oak with honey, apple, and orange notes, and then a long, graceful, and relaxed finish.
Yeah, I can see that orange and apple a little bit in there. Mm-hmm. That little bit of citrus.
Yeah, yeah, and it does kind of stay on your palate for a little while there. So not anywhere near as spicy as a rye, but you do get a little bit of spice
like
on there.
Like a little rye profile almost to it.
Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling once we put it on the rocks, we're pretty much just going to get caramel.
Yeah.
But it's
not bad.
Not bad. It's slightly better than regular.
Yeah.
Evan Williams, although we do like that small batch. I haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, the 1942, I think.
Yeah, I know we've had the 100 proof. Wasn't a huge fan of that. Bottled and Bond, Evan Williams.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best. This is a easy drinker for that price point. I'd say it's pretty good, especially probably beginner friendly. It's a little lighter. There's not a whole lot going on other than a little bit of the spice and then caramel.
Yeah.
So be a good one for your collection to kind of ease into if you don't have a full.
I wasn't ready for that spice on this.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, there's spice.
Yeah.
Like rye's, rye's gonna be spice, but.
And honestly, I could drink this neat.
Yeah.
Like it.
It's not bad. It's just I wasn't prepared for it. Yeah. It's like, oh, surprise.
But woke up early this morning to some good news.
Yeah.
Obviously, Trump won. I tried hard to stay up. I think I made it to about 1 o'clock. And then I'm like, all right, I got to go to bed.
You made it a lot further than I did.
Yeah, it was like anything else. It was close. It was nervous because there for a while, both Kansas and Missouri were a light shade of blue.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, God, we better not go blue. Texas, same thing. But then
they came out red.
Yeah, as more and more started coming in, got red. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I was about to blame a bunch of different counties here in Kansas that I know was voting blue, especially Johnson, and then probably Douglas there where Lawrence is, because that's a pretty liberal city there.
Yeah.
But once you get out of the cities here, and I think a lot of other states, once you get out of the big cities, it's all Republican.
Yeah.
All the farmers and everybody living out there.
Like I was going through my neighborhood and there's a lot of Trump signs, but then there's like a little section and it was like Harris, and I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. I was walking the dogs today and people still had their Harris signs out. I'm like, yeah.
There's a house here within the city and they got a fuck Trump sign. Like they put plywood and it says fuck Trump in between their windows up on the thing, like a huge piece of plywood. And there's a sign around the whole balcony. There's probably like 15 of them that says fuck Trump.
Nice.
I was like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
I think it's been up since Trump was president, too.
Really?
So they haven't taken it down.
Well, guess what? You're going to have to deal with it for another 4 years. So, yeah. So it's funny when that bottle was made, that is a day after the inauguration day.
Yeah.
So we have 75 days left of Biden, and then we finally get Trump back in office. I remember the last couple elections. I hated social media. Seems like everybody on Facebook was posting no matter what side they were on. It was so annoying. This year, it seems like everybody's kind of withheld.
Yeah.
There are some that obviously didn't
happy,
but this year, luckily, there were more that were not posting stuff.
I was more prepared, like, because 2020, I went to bed and I was like, all right, he's got the lead, we're fine.
Right.
And then I woke up and I was like, fuck. And I was like, that's what I was afraid of. I was like, he's got the lead, good. And then she started slowly getting those. I was like, oh, fuck, here we go again. And I kept trying to stay awake, but I kept dozing off.
Yeah, I just, because it was between them, they're like, well, we've seen Kamala not do anything. And then, just her policies. Everybody's sick of the Joe Biden administration, the majority of people anyway. And I want to be able to afford groceries again. And I think everybody else is in the same boat.
Yeah, they're quite pricey.
Like, whether you agree with this or not, under Trump, pre-COVID, the economy was great. Like, gas was cheap.
Everything was.
Everything. Like, it was awesome.
And we had the lowest interest rates, I think, on homes, too.
Yeah.
So...
And then, of course, COVID hit, things shut down and changed the economy. Yeah. But that was out of his hands and everything. So he had no...
Yeah.
That just happened. And, of course, then Biden just kind of screwed everything up. Highest interest rates on more... Like, it's still... You just bought a house. What
I got it. Like, it was in the fives, like high fives.
And that's with your VA discount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was like, I got a 585.
Okay.
But it's not bad, but it's not great.
During COVID, my wife and I refinanced at 3%.
Yeah, I got it down to 2.
Yeah. That was nice.
And I'm like, oh, I hope he gets back in and gets that low and I'm refining.
I want to see what the housing market's going to do because my wife and I want to downsize. Like, we don't need this big of a house.
Yeah.
Like, we want to get something smaller, maybe a little bit land. We can't right now because what we bought this house for, it's like double in value. Yeah. And it's like, well, great for when I sell, but then trying to find something in that price range, what we originally paid, you can't.
You're going to be SOL.
Yeah, it's basically, it
might
seems
as well
like
upgrade.
Yeah, but I don't, the problem is
you don't need it.
I know, we want something smaller, but we're going to be paying more money for something smaller, which is crazy.
Or maybe just get like a ranch style like we did.
Yeah, well, my wife and I moved out of a ranch style. Thank God, because I don't know how that would have gone with COVID.
Yeah.
I did have that shop, but to buy that same house now, we're going to be paying almost what we paid for this house. That's crazy.
Yep.
Or more than what we paid for this house. And it's like, to downsize is we're going to be taking a big hit on that end. So I don't know. I want to see what the housing market's going to do under Trump. And the stock markets went up like 1,000 points today.
Go figure.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, so I don't know. I'm ready. Bring it. Let's go.
We'll see. Now, as great as it is that Trump is president, I really hope he kind of stays straight arrow and doesn't do what he did last year. Like, stay off of X, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I think his biggest thing is he just needs to be quiet.
Exactly.
Do it. I mean, he's got the Senate, he's got the House.
Not yet. So as we're recording this, it is November 6th. So we do looks like we're probably going to have control of the Senate. It's looking like the House. It's not official yet. Hasn't been called. It's still counting the House. And that is going to affect what Trump can do.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could get both, have a nice red wave.
Yep.
And as long as he can do everything that he's promised in his campaign trail, I think 4 years from now, we could kind of hopefully keep it red.
Yeah.
But if he goes off on all his tangents and is all over social media with all this stuff, man, it's like, man, are they going to flip back now?
Yeah.
In 4 years?
Yeah, it'll be crazy. I hope. The only thing is, who's going to take his spot for a Republican court? That's the thing. We're going to be like, okay, who's next?
Obviously, Harris is probably done running for president
Hopefully.
at all. Like, she only got in because of that whole thing with Biden
She
dropping
didn't
out.
get it. She wasn't even supposed to run.
No,
because she didn't get elected.
She was not, and there was no way she was going to win the primaries.
No, that's
so.
That was
4 years from now in the future, even if she runs in the primaries, I don't think she'd make it.
No.
So I guess we'll have to see. Unfortunately, Trump can't run for another term, so
he can go as vice president,
and of course he'll be in his 80s by then, right? Mm-hmm. Probably. So he'll be done. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But we got to get through these 4 years, and hopefully they're going to be great. Hopefully the economy turns around. The gun business has been slow because people don't have the extra money.
Yeah.
Under him, it's kind of a catch-22. Under Obama, the gun business was good because he kept threatening all this, banning guns, so people were panic buying. Trump got in the office. Yeah, it was still good, not quite as good because people aren't panic buying, but they did have extra money to spend on toys like guns and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that goes back up because the last couple years especially has been really tough as a small home-based FFL. So I'm hoping that'll change. The main thing that a lot of us are excited for him becoming president is for obviously the Second Amendment.
Yes.
He's probably one of the most pro-2A presidents out of everybody that has been in office ever.
Yeah.
I'd say, especially in modern times anyway. It was great under Trump. And the one thing that he had going against him was he did do the bump stock ban.
Yeah, but that was more so like he had his hands tied.
Right.
And he couldn't do anything. He's like, I either do this or we go bigger.
Yeah.
And this kind of just, but look, it's not even allowed. You can have them again. So
yeah, it's like, okay, if I have to give up having this bump stock versus him coming after the AR-15 stuff,
take it.
Fine, I'll take that. Yeah, I think you're right. He had to do something.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go the route that Biden or Harris definitely would have gone and banned assault weapons, which I don't even know what those are, but they would have banned AR-15s and stuff like that. So he had his hands tied. He had to do something. So luckily he went the easier route. Yeah. But we got those back. So other than that, I mean, it was good.
Peace and economy was booming.
Yeah.
We had jobs.
And he appointed a pro-2A judge to the Supreme Court and some other courts. And so that's hopefully what's going to happen again in these next 4 years is, even in the Supreme Court, he's going to have to replace one or two probably, and then some of the other courts. So hopefully he can find replacements for the judges that are currently in office for, people that are more pro-2A.
Yeah.
And it sucks that you have to say pro-2A. Any judge should be pro the Constitution, no matter what part of the Constitution, no matter what amendment. They should be for that.
Yep.
And we shouldn't be looking for judges that are pro-2A. Like, they should all be pro-Constitution.
Yep. I agree with that.
So we'll see what he's able to do. And then, obviously, what he can do as far as any gun laws, and then what stuff I hope he's going to do that we're going to talk about, all depends on if we can also get the House. Mm-hmm. Because if we get the Senate and not the House, I don't know if he's going to get a whole lot accomplished.
Yeah.
That's why having both will definitely help. So what are some things that I hope, and probably you guys also hope, that he will accomplish as far as gun rights? Well, number one thing I can think of is getting rid of that stupid Office of Gun Violence Prevention. That has been a nightmare for us and a huge fight. And with Harris out of office, she was supposed to be running that.
Yeah.
So,
well, she was also supposed to be running and protecting our borders, but we all know how that happened.
Yes. So since she's going to be out of office and won't be running that, hopefully he's going to get rid of that, because that's also what allowed the ATF to do all their stupid stuff with the final rules. So hopefully he's going to do that, get rid of that whole program, and we won't have to worry about that. And then obviously get rid of the ATF's final rules that they've come out with.
Yeah.
Obviously they're still in different courts and stuff like that as far as the ruling on the frames and receivers, the triggers, the bump stocks, and other stuff. Hopefully he can get those taken away and
Yeah.
give the ATF less power.
Yeah, I think just get rid of ATF. Period.
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't
That's
either,
stretching it, but
if I was me, they'd be gone.
yeah.
I mean, if you got a director,
I don't know how easy that would be to
or
do that,
or I'm appointing the director and everything like that.
because they're under the executive branch.
Yeah.
So I don't know how easy it would be to remove.
Give me a director that actually knows how to disassemble firearms and knows the difference in firearms.
No kidding. I wonder if he's gonna appoint a new director.
I don't know.
To the
Hopefully.
ATF, because the one we have is a bozo.
Goober is what I call him.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that, and hopefully he is like, "Hey, you guys are the ATF. You enforce the rules. You don't make them.
Yep.
Plain and simple." Whereas with that Office of Gun Violence Protection and Joe Biden, they were trying to do workarounds, and
Yeah.
thankfully, I don't think any of them have been in effect, really.
Not yet.
They're still up in the air in courts, so hopefully those all go away. And, removal or reversal of any assault weapon style ban, get those all out of here. And the main thing, and I think a lot of us are on the same boat, is deregulating suppressors.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Back when he was in office, they came out with the Hearing Protection Act, and that was basically removing suppressors from the NFA because they're PPE, basically. And hopefully, if we win both Senate and House,
Yeah.
we can accomplish that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that and SPRs removed
Yeah.
because I don't agree with those being on there. Full autos, yeah, keep those as an NFA item.
Agreed.
Like, I 100% agree. We need to know who's got those.
Yeah.
So, but like silencers and SPRs, really.
Yeah.
Come on.
You can't conceal those any better, even though the Democrats think you can.
I mean, really, an SPR is going to make it. You're going to have more recoil. It's going to be harder to shoot. So,
yeah.
just get rid of it.
Yeah. Make life easier. You're going to free up time and stuff in that department that handles all that. They're going to be able to put their resources elsewhere, maybe going after bad guys and stuff instead of having to go through all these approvals for SBRs, SBSs, and the suppressors. Get rid of that $200 tax stamp. That would be amazing if I could just go in to a gun store, buy a suppressor, and walk out.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It's not
No
like
waiting
the
period.
movies.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole reason. Like everybody's scared of suppressors that don't know anything about guns. Think you could just go up and silently kill somebody.
No,
That's not the case.
You're still going to be able to hear it.
Yes, we have talked about this a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason they should be on there.
No.
So hopefully removing some stuff off the NFA, that would be amazing. If we don't win both Senate and House, may be tougher to get through.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Getting rid of red flag laws.
Yeah.
Obviously, they haven't worked.
No, they haven't. I would like to get rid of that and gun-free zones.
Yeah, I don't know if you can fully get rid of gun-free zones.
I'd
think
like to get rid of them.
that's going to be a tough one, especially when it comes to schools.
I understand that, but you're making them a target.
Yeah.
By having them be gun-free. We've talked about this several times. Like, they're gun-free. Oh, you're not supposed to have easy target. Get rid of all of it. Make people think, like, is this going to be a good decision or bad?
Right. So say you get rid of all gun-free zones. Would then say, you turn 18, or a lot of us turn 18 in high school. Would you then be allowed to bring a rifle or shotgun to school at that point? Because that's going to be the big issue. Legally. Because
I think I don't know. It'd be weird.
that could be dangerous.
It could be, but they did it back in the 60s and 70s, and look what happened.
Yeah. There's also no social media bullying back then, too.
True.
So that's why there weren't a whole lot of school shootings back then.
I mean,
That's going to be very controversial.
yeah, that would be controversial.
If
but
anything, sure, we'll go after that, but put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
Maybe do the other things first. But because like federal buildings, I don't know.
I just think you make it an easy target.
Yeah.
Especially in the school zones and all that. You're making them an easy target.
Yeah. That's going to be a tough one to get
Especially
past.
since some of these schools don't even have SRO officers.
So, that's a lot.
It is.
So there's other stuff that we would obviously like to see happen, but those are, I think, the big ones that a lot of us would like to see. And then of course, now that we have the president, that's on the federal level, but we're still going to have all the states with all their BS, like,
Yep.
the two coasts and Illinois and everybody. So unfortunately, you're going to have to deal with that. So even though we got a pro 2A president, that doesn't mean our fight is over.
Yeah.
We're going to have to deal with
state and local government.
State, local governments. And I also saw, of course, all the liberals are crying. All the Democrats are so upset posting stuff. Well, on top of that, so are the gun grabbing groups like Moms Demand Action. They posted stuff over there on Twitter. Nothing will stop us from fighting for safety for our kids and communities. We've been up against and beaten Trump's extremist agenda before, and we'll do it again. And then they also state our army of over 10 million supporters are ready to fight like hell against President Trump and his lawmaker allies if they attempt to undo progress to push legislation that would make us less safe. With the overwhelming majority of Americans who support strong gun safety laws behind us, we will win. False. I think most Americans are actually, I think more people than you think are pro-guns. So,
yeah. I'm sorry. If you want to talk about safety, let's talk about our borders.
So
letting all these people in that cause this.
Exactly. So we still have to deal with these groups. So there's with that one group, and then of course every town posted something similar.
This is devastating. The gun safety movement has faced countless setbacks, but when it comes to the number of one killer of kids, nothing will stand in our way. Make no mistake, Trump's extremist agenda is danger for our nation, but it means we'll double down on our efforts and protect our communities and continue to make progress, just like we did in 2016. The momentum on gun safety movement can be stopped. Gun violence isn't left or right issue. It's a life or death issue.
Yeah.
We can and will overcome this together.
Yeah. So we still got to deal with all that jazz. So we still, it's going to be
it's funny to me. A lot of the gun violence we have is left controlled states.
Yep.
Let's think about that. The people that want all the gun control have the biggest gun issue.
You know why that is, Chris?
Oh, I know. They don't care. Simple as that.
Criminals don't follow gun laws.
Yeah.
I don't know if they don't follow any laws.
They make their own, like the government was helping them make their own. Oh, don't steal anything over $1,000. So you don't get a felon. So then you can still have a gun and a weapon.
That is one thing I hope he also addresses too, is that bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can because that's more of a state level in California, but yeah.
I don't know.
That would have been, under Kamala, that would have been way worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're one of the safest nations when it comes to gun control and safety. The only reason why we stand out so much is because of these blue states with the strict gun laws, but no one follows them.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have like those major cities, we'd be like, I think I saw a statistic where like the #1 safest country in the world with all the guns. And we got the majority of guns out of any country in the world.
It's not a gun problem. It's a people problem.
Yeah, it is a people problem. And they need to go back to actually parents teaching their kids from right and wrong and putting the fear of God back into them. Like there it is. Oh, everyone's like, oh, you can't do that. They'll be scarred for life. It'll be fear. There's good fear and there's bad fear. There's reasons like kids didn't do things when they got their butt beat. Because they know oh crap, I do this, my dad's going to beat me. You put the good fear in them to make sure they don't go and steal or kill someone or stab someone. There's good fear and bad fear.
Case in point, Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
That whole thing. If you guys haven't seen it, I'm sure you have. If you haven't, you've been living under a rock or just not on social media at all, which, I've thought about doing. That would be nice. But then obviously I got to have content to make. So Jason Kelsey is a football player. Like he's a big dude. He's not a small dude.
Yeah, he was a center.
He's lost weight. He's still a big dude. He can fuck you up. So where was he at? Penn State or somewhere?
Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State. And of course he's getting followed by all these college kids, all of which have their phone out, filming him and everything, and he's just trying to walk wherever he's going with a case of garage beer, and there's kids shouting things, and one in particular goes up to him with his little camera in his face, which I'm sure this kid is a keyboard warrior, but this is what they look like out in real life. He was freaking going up to Jason Kelsey, and basically, I don't know if we can say this, probably not, but
he was saying stuff he shouldn't.
Yeah, he basically said, how does it feel that your brother called him a gay slang term for dating Taylor Swift? You don't say that to anybody, first of all.
Yeah.
Let alone an ex-football player.
Yeah.
And so what Jason Kelsey did is obviously that hit him there, because you shouldn't say that to anybody in their face, let alone with a freaking video camera trying to provoke them to do something. And so Jason Kelsey obviously gets pissed off, grabs the kid's phone, slams it on the ground. I'm pretty sure then he picks it up and walks away.
Yeah.
Apparently he shouted something back to the kid. I didn't get that in any of the videos, but I guess he did. And of course, Jason Kelsey's had to come out and apologize for that. It's like, no, you shouldn't have to apologize for that. That fucking kid should have to apologize.
Yeah, the kid was in the wrong.
Yeah. Like, that's the problem with this generation is they don't have any repercussions for what they do.
There's no accountability.
Like, you have all the keyboard warriors out there, but now you're starting to see these same keyboard warriors come out in public, and because they want to put stuff on social media, TikTok, to get views, they're doing this stuff to people's faces, and when it goes the wrong way, oh wait, they're the victim now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so tired of it.
That needs to stop.
That woke crap.
Like, I don't care if you're trying to give views or whatever, you should not be able to say that type of shit to people
And
just to get the clicks.
Yeah, and not to think there's not going to be actions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And if that kid sues Jason Kelsey, he needs to counter sue, because that kid is just trying to get a payday.
Oh yeah.
Anybody that does that type of crap to higher profile people, they're just trying to get a payday and
It's
clicks
so
and
stupid.
views.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
Like, I saw that, I'm like, what if, like, good for him, first of all. Like, and there were a lot of people online, you know, with comments that were supporting Jason Kelsey, because it's like, yeah, like, these kids need to listen. You
can't just do that.
Yeah, you learn you can't just do that.
Yeah, they need to have the fear of God put back into them.
Yeah.
He's lucky he didn't put hands on the dude.
Oh, I know. Like, you're lucky he just took your phone.
Yeah, and smashed it.
And that was
smashing you.
Yeah, because he would have just punched you in the face, and I'm pretty sure you would have gone down in one hit.
Yeah. Collapse.
It's like, dude, you don't like. If you don't like the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey thing, fine.
Get over it.
Don't go up to his brother and say that.
Yeah.
Like, he's
There's a
probably
right.
gonna piss him off.
What was that saying? There's a right place and a right time for certain things, and that was not it.
No, no, not at all.
God.
And probably behind closed doors, Travis Kelsey's like, hell yeah, I would have done the same thing, but they can't come out and say that, obviously. So I think in this last podcast that came out, I think today, he addressed it and kind of apologized, but he shouldn't have to.
I've been like, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, like, don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
That's one person that does it. Yeah. So hopefully, I'm hoping he doesn't have to buy that kid a new phone.
I hope not.
Like,
either.
that's stupid if he does.
Yeah. That's, oh my gosh.
It's like, but I saw that, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, more people, because anything you see out in public,
Eventually, people are going to get sick of this shit, and it's going to be worse. I mean,
this all would have been worse under the Harris administration.
Oh, yeah.
She would have supported this, be like, oh, all these kids can do that. It's free speech, all this stuff. But then she's like you know,
anti-bullying.
but you can't, this is bullying. Like,
You're up in my face with a phone.
But because she doesn't like, policing, stuff like that, there's been no punishment for these kids. So, of course, they're going to keep doing this to try and get views on TikTok. Yeah. We just need to take away social media. Get rid of TikTok. Get rid of Twitter, X.
Get rid of Facebook.
I liked... Instagram was nice back when it was literally just posting pictures that people had. And, especially for photographers, just posting pictures, everything. Now you do videos and all this stuff, Facebook. But TikTok is, I think, the worst thing for society. It's terrible. There's a lot of people that do funny stuff, like comedy-wise, and it's really funny. Like, it doesn't hurt anybody, but then you have a lot of people that kid that do stupid shit just to get views.
Yep. They want the views. They want the money.
And it's like, if anything bad happens, like if there's a wreck or somebody's getting attacked on the street, instead of helping said
they'd rather sit
person,
there and record it.
Yeah, all these people are just.
I think there needs to be laws like against that. Like, you're now part of this.
Yeah,
you and like there should be repercussions.
I mean, it's great when it comes to having
like what happened to like helping your neighbor.
Yeah. No, I'm just going to sit here and record it.
I'm going to record it. Oh, this is funny.
Which can be helpful in a police investigation, but you're not doing it for that. You're doing it just so you can post that to social media and get views.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it needs to stop. Like,
so maybe Trump can do something about that. Yeah. I don't know. But we just...
Society needs to change. There needs to be a culture shift.
Yeah. You need to ban, honestly, TikTok. Like,
yeah.
Like they said they were going to, and I'm like, hell yeah, ban TikTok.
And then they never did.
Because our wives would have so much time on their hands now.
Yeah.
That's all my wife does is just sit there and scroll
through at night. Doom scroll through
it. I'll do it for a little while, but I'm like, okay, I need to stop.
I don't have TikTok, so.
Yeah. There is some funny stuff on there, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wasting your time. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And then your attention span goes down. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
YouTube is good because you can go there to learn stuff.
Yeah.
Or for entertainment.
I actually did that today. I was at work and like we had a new piece of equipment. Like I tested it like 6 years ago. I was like, I know how to do a calibration on this, but they changed like just one thing. I was like, what the heck? YouTube real quick. Oh, there it is. Okay. Did it. I was like, okay, cool.
Exactly. That's why I get why YouTube is wanting to do the shorts, but I think they need to get away from it because it's going to end up being more like TikTok. Like YouTube is long form content. Keep it that way. They now made it to where you can do 3-minute shorts because it used to be 60 seconds. Now they're going to up to 3. Because I think TikTok is, you can start posting long videos on TikTok now.
Vines. Remember 10-second clips back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That started a movement.
Yeah. That's how I feel about that Jason Kelsey thing. I think that kid deserved every bit of that, and he's lucky he didn't get any more. And I honestly don't think Jason Kelsey should have had to apologize.
Nope, I don't
That
either.
fucking kid should have to. And then buy his own phone.
Yeah. Hope you had insurance, bro.
Exactly. There's so many instances like that it's unfortunately the person that they did it to ends up being the bad guy, and the one provoking everything ends up being the victim.
Yeah, I hate that.
Kind of like if you shoot somebody that's breaking into your house, they can sue you.
Yeah, that's stupid too. I wish we
Yeah.
could almost like third world country rules. Like you steal, they take your hand.
Right.
You
That
get
would
caught.
solve a lot of
issues real
Yep.
quick.
So as far as Trump's win, obviously people were sick of the Bidenomics and all the immigration that was a big issue. However, his son Barron, who suddenly like grew, like he is a tall dude. I think he's like 6'9" or something. Like I saw him next to Trump in some clips after he won on stage. He is significantly taller than Trump, and Trump is like 6 something.
Yeah, I think he's 6'2" or 6'6".
Yeah, and his son is a good, at least I don't know, 6 inches taller than him. Like his son has grown. It's funny. I saw a thing on TikTok, but they was showing like what Barron was like during, his first presidency. Obviously, he was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But now he's more involved because he's a young adult now and kind of sees things. And I think what also might have helped Trump win this is the fact that he had Barron actually mentioned to Trump that he should, hey, go on Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
You need to start getting a younger demographic and getting. What I liked about Theo Vaughn's podcast in particular is that it was all about Trump personally, and everything, and like going through personal stuff. It wasn't about politics. They didn't mention a whole lot on politics back then in his episode, and it was more like because Theo Vaughn, I guess, struggled with drugs and alcohol addiction, and Trump doesn't smoke, doesn't drink.
Yeah.
And then he told the story of why, because of his brother Fred and how he suffered with that. So it's like if he never sat down with Theo Vaughn and said that, nobody would have gotten to know Trump on a more personal level.
Yeah.
So I think that really helped. And then, of course, the 3-hour-long podcast with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Well, I
he did.
also watched a golf one with Shambo, I think. Have you seen that one? They're playing around a golf together. And it was just interesting watching them and talk. And like, this dude knows his shit about golf. Like, and he could play.
Well, in listening to, because I had a long drive down to Dallas.
Yeah.
So that's when I listened to the Trump episode with Rogan. I didn't, like, Trump is obviously big into fighting because he's always at the fights. That guy knows a lot about boxing and UFC. Like, him and Rogan were going back and forth, Trump was naming all these guys, all these facts. And I'm like, how the hell does he know all
he's
that?
a bright guy. Like, he's there.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
he's a big.
It was interesting, though,
fan.
watching the golf thing. And I was just like, wow. Like, he's playing with a PGA champion level dude, and he's keeping up with him.
He owns at least one golf course, right?
Yeah, but he's keeping up. Like, they're just talking and shooting, playing like a scramble. And he's like, this is like the first time I've never had to like shoot for anybody for a whole hole because my partner did better than me. It's like crazy.
Kind of like that when he was in debate with Biden when they started going off on their handicaps.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Yeah.
But, and then I came across, he's done several apparently outside of those two. There was I can't remember the YouTuber who it was, but young group of kids, probably early 20s, I would say, that I don't know if it's not really a podcast, but they do videos, and they interviewed him in a podcast setting for like an hour.
Yeah.
But then Trump actually let them go on his plane to like one of the rallies somewhere, and they kind of filmed all that too. And again, it was kind of cool to kind of see Trump in a more personal
personal level
and all this. So it was cool. And man, the things he could spit off when it comes to fighting.
Yeah.
It's like, whew.
That's crazy. Like I watch a lot of, like I've got my subscriptions and I watch them religiously when they come out. And there's one I watch. It's called Daily Driven Exotics. So nothing but crazy cars. But he was on he knows someone that has a private plane. And he's like, hey, just fly back home for Halloween. We'll fly back in the morning. And I guess this guy is like a personal coach. And he'll sit there like, what is your goals? How are you trying to achieve it? And he'll help you achieve those things. And he's like, usually this costs like thousands of dollars. I didn't want to talk to him about it. He's the one that brought it up to me, like trying to make me better without me having to pay for these services. He's like, it's kind of crazy just how humble some of these people are. Mm-hmm. You would think that they're complete assholes because they got all this money and all this stuff, but they're more humble than you would think.
Right.
So it's like kind of eye-opening.
Yeah, I think Barron pushing him to do that stuff definitely helped.
Yeah.
JD Vance did a podcast with Joe Rogan as well, and it's pretty cool. It's a little more political, but you still got to know. It was like 3 hours because I listened to that one on the way back home from Dallas, and I was like, God dang, like this thing, it just keeps going and going. It was like 3 hours and 14 minutes, I think. It was a long one, but again, you get to know JD Vance because I knew nothing really about him at all, and then you could kind of there's more on his views and stuff like that, and some getting to know him personally. But I really think that helped their mission there. Unfortunately, Kamala was offered to go on Joe Rogan, but her team was like, no, it's got to be an hour long, and
this is the topics.
Joe Rogan would have had to go to her.
Yeah.
But Joe Rogan has a good point. Like, if you go to his studio and have a longer conversation, like 2-3 hours, that's when you really start.
Yep.
I mean, you could talk for an hour and she could spit off stuff that she's been taught and stuff like that. But to really get to know somebody personally and go deep into stories and stuff, you need more than an hour.
Yeah. Well, the problem is she changes her story all the time.
Yeah.
She changes her personality to fit whatever group she's in at that time.
I don't think she would have been able to hold that long of a conversation.
That's why they wanted it an hour long.
Yeah.
They know, she can do an hour.
Mm-hmm. I remember these things. And like most politicians, you ask her a question, she never answers it. She goes completely different way.
I answer that question, right? Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think the battery probably wouldn't have lasted long enough in her earpiece to go for a 2 to 3 hour long podcast
probably.
too.
Yeah, just I don't know.
She did go on Call Me Daddy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that wasn't a good move.
No.
Like, I kind of see why you were going because it's a bigger. I've never listened to that podcast, but it's a female podcast that apparently talks about some racy stuff. But like, of all the podcasts, you're going to go on that one.
Yeah.
Like, the one Joe Rogan did with Trump immediately, like within a day or two, got like 30 some million views.
No, I'm sure.
On just YouTube.
Yeah.
So it got a large reach, and I think people got a different side of Trump that they weren't expecting.
Yeah. It was, you just hear what the media is, and we all know the media likes to lie about everything. Mm-hmm. So that gives you an opportunity to see a side of him that you're not typically going to get to see or hear from the media. It's one-on-one.
Right. So yeah, Joe Rogan was a kind of both. They did talk about like what he would do in his policy and stuff, but it was still also they were chit-chatting about fighting, UFC, and personal stuff. But one of the things Joe Rogan asked is, because in Trump's first term, he's like, once I get elected, I'm going to open up the JFK files and let the public know. Joe Rogan's like, hey, what happened with that?
Yeah.
And Trump was like, well, I went to go open them and started opening them, and he was asked not to by several people. The reason being that some of the people that are in those files that if this information got out could affect are still alive. So they're like, generally, we don't like to open these type of files and make them public until everybody that's in here is dead. So Trump, when they said that to Trump, he's like, supposedly Trump was like, okay, I'm not going to open it. But then he's like, this time around, I'm going to open them.
Yeah.
We'll see. Which I would like to know.
There's so many conspiracy theories on that.
Well, yeah, I'd like to know the truth. But like when you say open the JFK files, like is it literally like a folder that you open up and all this stuff? Like, or is it
like secret books and all that?
Yeah, like how is it? Like, is it like when you see in the movies, like the old police records and those in those boxes and shit, or is it all digital somewhere? Like,
I'm sure they.
What do the files look like?
Digitalized it by now.
Yeah, but is there still a bunch of stuff redacted?
I wonder if it goes in there and tells you like the whole truth and everything, gives you that clip that was actually removed from the ZipRitter.
Right.
Like, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. The only reason I would want to be president is to know
all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously, if something's top secret, he probably can't come out and say it, even though he wants to. But at the same time, you're the president, you can kind of do whatever you want. But I would want to know just for myself. Yeah. It would be so hard not to tell anybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably another reason he's like, man.
Yeah.
I gotta
keep this quiet.
Gotta keep this quiet. Yeah. I guess I get it that, people are still alive that would.
Yeah.
Probably people that were really behind it are still alive.
Yeah.
And would probably be killed by people that. So.
Yeah.
I guess I get that, but.
Yeah. It'd be crazy.
Well, I mean, because that happened in 63.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the 60s. So you're coming up on the time where a lot of those people are probably starting to die off now. So
yeah, maybe
we can open those hopefully soon. And then, of course, he asked him about the whole, the aliens and stuff like that. He's like, well, they obviously came out and said, hey, aliens are real. There's been sightings, but he did not mention anything about, what goes on. Like, did we actually capture aliens
and use their technology?
Yeah, what's going on at Area 52 and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like where? So, didn't get any. Joe Rogan was trying to push for that, but Trump didn't give any.
Yeah.
Thing. He's
probably
like,
I gotta keep hush hush about that.
Yeah, he's like, well, we've already come out and the Air Force already came out and said there are UFOs, other life out there, and there's obviously video evidence, so no longer a secret there. But we would like to know if you did catch anything that wasn't human.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. See what happens this time around. I don't know.
I mean, he did a pretty good job of doing what he said he was going to do the first term.
He just got fucked by COVID.
Yeah. I mean, everything he said he was doing. Mm-hmm. So I look at him like he is a man of his word.
What I would be interested to see is he said several times that before he even gets in office, he's going to end the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's actually going to happen.
Probably the day of or right before. Like, you better knock this stuff off or it's over.
But yeah. And Joe Rogan asked him about that. And Trump's like, he's like, what are you going to say to Putin? He's like, well, I can't tell you because that would defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
So Trump has a plan and on how to do it. He just can't obviously say what it was. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's like, man, I know Russia's making a lot of money off this war, but you've destroyed Ukraine.
Yeah.
So even if you got Ukraine, it's a war-torn area where you got to rebuild all that infrastructure.
Yeah.
Do you really want that? Do you want to take on that burden of doing that? Your economy is going to suffer. You got to put all that money back in there.
Yeah.
Like at this point, just the last cause, like.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like when I was over there, like we went to Georgia and we'd be walking through the town, just middle of the road. There's a big old boulder from where there was a missile that hit or a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And like walk around it. And I was like, man, I'm shocked that this is still there. Like, why haven't they fixed this?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Some of it's just to remind people of what it was like. It was back
crazy.
Then. And then, of course, you got the Israel-Iran thing going on. So he said he was going to try and stop that too. He's already reached out to the president of Israel because he's backed Israel. Yeah. So we'll see what he does with that. Obviously, he told Israel to, hey, defeat Hamas. Just speed it up here a little bit, like get it done, kind of a thing. So he's definitely said he was going to try and end those two conflicts. So be interesting to see if he can actually in the Ukraine-Russia thing. Like he said before, because he's like, I'm going to do that while I'm president-elect.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Let's see.
If he does it, then he'll just make everyone else look dumb.
Right. It's like, okay, I know. Because that's been going on for years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, if he can do that, it's like, man, if we would have just voted for him again, he would have kept all those people from dying.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of people from dying.
And that's what he, like, during that one interview, like, I just want people to stop dying. Like no. Like, what about this, and that? He's like, no, I just want people to stop dying. Like, I don't like death.
Right.
So
on Joe Rogan's podcast, there was because there's been some talk out there that one of the terrorist groups out there, like I think in Afghanistan or something, like when they were wanting to get out, Trump was like, hey, sent this guy a picture of his house. He's like,
yeah,
you do what I say, or
that's gone.
Rogan asked him about that, and Trump's like, well, I can't actually speak to that, but so that, I mean, that's shit.
I've heard that several times.
Yeah,
though.
and I guarantee you he did that, and that's the only way you're gonna get shit done.
Yeah,
like,
my balls are bigger than your balls.
I got a picture of your house. I can easily right now have this drone destroy
I can
it.
press a button and it's gone.
Yeah. Hey, that's what it takes. Yeah. And obviously Joe Biden didn't have that.
Yeah.
And Harris, we would have been a laughing stock.
Well, yeah. That was what my biggest, I was like, I want us to come back and be a feared nation again.
Exactly.
Like, I'm tired of us being the laughing stock. It's bad.
There's going to be some of that with some of the things that Trump say, but he's also a businessman. And he's going to be like, no, like,
yeah,
here's what's going to happen.
Yep. No deal. You're fired.
So, you know the game Fortnite?
Yep.
I'm not a gamer, but I know Fortnite is a big third person shooting game.
Yep.
Like it's
a
shooting game, right?
Yeah.
I've never played it. I don't know anything about it. But what Harris did in her campaign, thought it was a good idea to create a map within Fortnite, and they called it Freedom Town, USA. Guess what was not in that map? Well, I'm sure you're reading my notes, but no guns. So in a game that's known for third-person shooting, in her map, there were no guns. No guns allowed. So she banned guns in a video game. So surprise there. And in this map, there was, of course, Harris political signs all over this map and everything. And really the goal was to build buildings. And then there were these missions that you could go on to collect things and stuff like that.
No, you know what her goal was. She was trying to get the younger generation's vote that were 18 or just. But the problem, she doesn't realize that there's a bunch of like 9-year-olds on there fucking playing this game.
I've never played it.
It's rated M for mature, so it's supposed to be 17 and up. My understanding is it's like open map. And you can go in there as a team, or you can go in there as a person and just try to kill people.
Well, apparently her map wasn't very popular.
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
One of the Calling the Worst podcast, he did there was an interview of a news crew that was interviewing like a guy that may have developed this, but he's like, yeah, it's gotten a few hundred people in there. It's like, yeah, who on a primary game that you're supposed to have guns and shoot people, why would you go to a map with political shit in there?
Yeah.
And the goal is to build stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck that.
No, that was the stupidest thing.
I'm shocked she didn't try banning guns from the whole game.
Right. But the fact that she didn't have guns in the map of a game that is primarily shooting just goes to show you how much she hates guns and she would have been terrible for
we'd be done. We wouldn't be allowed to have anything.
We would have had a lot to talk about, but it would have been bad.
Yeah. We'd be London.
Yeah.
Talking about knives. We can't have knives now.
Like we talked about in like several podcasts, she was worse than Joe Biden when it comes to guns. Joe Biden's like, hey, there's a constitution, we got it the right way. She's like, Joe, don't say we can't. Say we can.
Yeah.
No, we did not need that in.
No.
That would have been bad. Very bad.
Oh, thank God.
Man, there was talk of a blue wave.
Yeah, there was.
Thank God that didn't happen. Because
also they're like kept saying it like, here comes the blue, here comes the blue, here comes the blue.
And it would have been for 100 years, is what they were saying.
Like, oh my God. And then here came the red.
Yeah. Because I saw things like if they won the presidency, the House, and Senate, we would have been fucked for 100 years.
Yeah.
And at that point, yeah, they can most definitely pass assault weapons bans and all that stuff. So we would have been screwed.
Yep.
But people are finally waking up and like, hey,
thank you.
We're sick of this, and we need to go a different direction.
Yep.
We need to literally make America great again. Literally, like it's been tough. Things are expensive. Like my wife and I used to go on vacations all the time. Like you can't afford that.
No.
What are they called? Dinks. My wife is like, oh, we're dinks. Dual income, no kids. And then there was like another part where you add the dogs. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
a dink is a dual income, no kids, something. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm like, what the hell? Dink?
That's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, dual income, no kids. But yeah, even then, barely afford stuff.
Yeah.
So.
It's pricey out there.
Yes. I'm interested to see, though, what the housing market does. Because obviously, the housing prices have gone up. Are they going to stay up? Probably.
I think so in this area.
Or just, all over. I was in Dallas for a week, which was awesome, by the way, for whiskey, because I did find 2 bottles of E.H. Taylor small batch for, believe it or not, MSRP. Specs is kind of a big liquor store thing down in the South. They have them in Arkansas for sure, Texas, probably some other areas. I think Louisiana too. So Specs is a big, kind of like Total Wine almost, or Lucas Liquors up here.
Yeah.
So they're a big liquor store place, and they had a table, which I loved. They actually put out all their allocation stuff. You're limited 1 per customer per day, fine. But they had it out to where you can go get it. Loved that. And when I arrived there, I was not expecting to find anything, but I went there and there were like 5 bottles of E.H. Taylor, and it was like $50.
Yeah.
I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. So I got one, sent a picture to you and Alan. You're like, oh, get me one. I'm like, well, it's 1 customer per day. So went back the other day and grabbed one. But then when I started going back the other days, they were already gone.
Yeah.
So I got 2 bottles of that for like $50. So we're gonna have that on the podcast, which I'm excited about. And I went to another liquor store, and the guy, like, I was like, oh my God. It was kind of like what happened to me in Phoenix. For whatever reason, Indian ran liquor stores.
Oh, yeah.
Their prices are crazy, but they have all the shit. Like behind this counter, this guy had everything on allocation. He had all the Wellers. He had Blanton's. He had Eagle Rare. He had Blanton's Gold. Like everything. I'm like, oh, I just hit the jackpot. So I go up there, kind of nonchalant, looking around like, ooh, I want all of it. And then I see the prices. And I'm like, no wonder why this guy still has all this shit.
Yep.
The Wellers, like they had Weller 12-year, which I really like. It's really good. He wanted $150 for that.
Jesus.
Way overpriced.
Oh, yeah.
Blanton's Gold. I asked him, I'm like, well, first I'm like, what do you want for the Blantons? And he was like, I think he said like $100, $150.
Ouch.
No. Blanton's Gold was like $250, $300. Like, no.
No.
And then he had all the other different Wellers, and they were well over $100. One of the Wellers, I forget which it was, but he had like $350. Like, Weller's not that good. Like,
No.
it's not. The green Weller he had stupid high too. I'm like, God, you could go get this for $20 anywhere.
Yeah.
Most places, like, you got it marked up like crazy. Surprisingly though, he had a bunch of Buffalo Trace. I'm like, all right, I gotta ask, how much is a Buffalo Trace? Like, thinking he was gonna spit off something stupid. $30. Oh, well, give me one of those then. So I got a bottle of Buffalo Trace from that guy, but everything else was just, I'm like, I finally see Blanton's Gold
Yeah.
for sale, and he wanted $350. I'm like, no.
Because I think down in Tennessee, even in the like crazy Jack Daniel's store, it was like $250 for that.
Yep.
I was like, oh no.
Well, he had the E.H. Taylor small batch, which I previously bought at Spec. So I'm like, I bought it for $50. He had it for 100 and something.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm like, this is why you have all the shit, because
You don't sell it.
yeah.
And you want like double, if not triple, the price.
So at Specs, the last day I was in town, they had a sign. They didn't have it out, but they had a sign saying that they had Weller Millennium. I've never heard of that.
Neither have
I'm
I.
like, what the hell is that? I'm like, do you sell much of this? The guy's like, no. And I looked at the price tag because they had it. We have Weller's Millennium. Here's the price. $8,000. I'm like, do you sell much of this? He's like, we don't sell any of it. I'm like, no shit. It's an $8,000 bottle of Weller?
Yeah. No one's
Who's
going to buy
got that kind of money?
That's stupid.
Does that mean it's been aged for 100 years? I don't know.
I would think so. It's a millennium.
$8,000 for a bottle of freaking whiskey. Even
nuts.
if I had won the lottery,
yeah,
$8,000 for one bottle.
No.
And you know, if
that'd be like, all right, you had a kid. Congratulations, you can have a.
And I was talking to the guys there. This other guy walked by and he goes, "Yeah, it's not that good." Like, so you've tried this? Yeah. Like, well, yeah.
Jesus.
Bottle of Weller, Millennium, $8,000. I'm like, God damn. At least let me see what it looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was in the back. They were not bringing it out.
I'm sure because they drop it. That's a big mistake.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Dallas is. It was cool. The food down there was good. Loved the food. A lot of the places I asked people, I'm like, but they're like, oh, it's all changed. I'm like, well, I've never seen any of these changed. So it was good. Found a cool speakeasy place and had a cigar and some whiskey. And it was like a prohibition style place. It was really cool. Just kind of went there and like, man, this place is actually pretty kick ass. And all the food I've had, obviously In-N-Out Burger down there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Had that a couple times for lunch, really good. But I could never live there. There is so much traffic.
Yeah.
One of my trainers that was down there. So we were in the Colony, which is just outside like Louisville and just south of Frisco, kind of like in that area. So North Dallas. And he lived in Dallas proper, kind of closer to downtown, 20 miles. I'm like, well, what's your travel like? Because every morning I'd wake up and just turn on the news and they'd be saying, oh, wreck here, and all red on the map. Like, I'm like, oh, this sucks. And they're like, oh, add 40 minutes to your drive time. That's already stupid long. I'm like, what's it take? He's like, well, on the way in, it takes me about 40 minutes or so, depending on he's got Waze open and he's listening to the traffic report. He's like, all right, so I'm going to avoid these areas and go this way. So he's got to take a different route to work every day. But I'm like, what about going home? Because we got out about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And he's like, it takes me an hour and a half to get home.
Jesus.
I'm like, fuck that. Like,
it's like Atlanta traffic.
And he's only going 20 miles.
That's crazy.
An hour and a half to get home. I'm like, no. I'm like, why don't you just move closer to here? And I guess the way Dallas is just blowing up in all directions, you know, the older neighborhoods closer to the city, more land and stuff like that. Like, he's like, I got like a half-acre lot or so where I'm at. Whereas even just looking around where I was in the Colony or Louisville, there's all these newer subdivisions, but they are packed in. Yeah. Like, you think here in Olathe we're packed in? No, like they pack you in, and all the houses down there are brick, which would be nice, but they're packed in, and they all look the same.
Yeah, all on top of each other too.
They're all on top of each other. They look the same, and they're just put in all these random areas, and I'm like, man, the prices are comparable to here. Like, it's like, okay, I could probably maybe afford it, but food down there is more expensive. Like, we get a higher per diem in Dallas because it's just more expensive, and I'm like, man, just because it's too people everywhere, and the whole frontage road thing with the highways, and you got to do the U-turn thing. I'm like, this sucks, and literally traffic all the time. My hotel was next to the highway, and it was just highway noise. I'm like, ugh. And if you've ever been to Dallas, it's all highways, all always under construction. Yeah. Going down from Kansas City, I left on Monday super early, and then it wasn't bad. Easy drive until you hit North Texas, about Denton areas where it gets traffic all the way. But coming back, I hit crazy traffic. I left Friday afternoon to come back home, and it was nonstop traffic from Dallas all the way through Oklahoma City. Once you get north of Oklahoma City, there's like the Stillwell exit off I-35. Traffic all the way. Like, Oklahoma City, I've been there a lot of times to work, and I'm going there next week. I'm dreading it because it's all stop and go traffic.
That's crazy.
I'm like, this isn't even a big city, but the traffic in Oklahoma City sucks. So the drive home from Dallas sucked.
Dang.
and I came away with 2 bottles of E.H. Taylor, and then I got a couple bottles we'll eventually have on the podcast of just some Texas stuff. I'm like, I'm in Texas, got to get Texas stuff. So I talked to the guy at Specs, and he's like, well, here's what's popular and what I've tried and liked. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll see how this good news turns out for us, gun community. Luckily, we can probably take a breath. Not too much of a breath because we still got to deal with the states and those anti-gun groups, but we can relax a little bit. Hopefully, we'll have some more money here soon to actually spend on our gun stuff. And unfortunately, the price of ammo is going up. Winchester sent out a notification that it's going to go up because of manufacturing pricing. So ammo is going to go up again. Big surprise there. But what was the percentage? Like,
it wasn't too bad.
I think it was under 10, but still, this is at least the second time they've done this.
Yeah, that isn't too bad through history, though.
Yeah. But
they didn't even want to do it, but they had to.
Yeah. I get it. Manufacturing is more expensive and costing goods. But hopefully with Trump, everything will come back down, level out. Like ammo was readily available pre-COVID. Guns were really normal. And that's the thing is like people get, oh, I can buy that now for this. And then
it's like whiskey, and now we can't find shit.
Yeah. So even though stuff's really available, it seems pretty cheap, and you're like, oh, I can go. That's when you want to stock up.
Yeah.
And not when there's a panic buy. Like, man, once COVID hit, I sold out of almost all my inventory, and it was hard to get other stuff. So when it seems good, that's when you actually want to go buy and stock up on stuff. And hopefully we'll have another 4 years. Hopefully there's not going to be anything crazy that happens that'll fuck us up. Like, with Bush, it was, 9/11.
Yeah.
With Trump, it was COVID. So hopefully we have an easy 4 years.
Yeah, calm down.
Nothing crazy.
Calm down, get us our money back, and lower everything.
Exactly. I saw a meme where Harris got beat so bad that the FEMA was going to send her $750.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah, there's your $750, Harris.
Yeah.
Now that you're going to be jobless, thank
God.
God.
Everyone's pissed because of how much money they spend on her just to get blown out like that.
Right. So let us know your guys' thoughts. What you're looking forward to Trump hopefully doing as far as 2A rights, like we discussed. And if you guys are looking for low transfer fees in the Kansas City area, Boomstick Tactical does do $20 transfer fees. Check out boomstick-tactical.com for more information and the current inventory on the Arms List page. There's a little link there that says current inventory. Because I can't post anything to Facebook and advertise.
Yep.
There you go. I also cannot post down below in the description. So, boomstick-tactical.com. Check it out. We like to sell guns and hope to continue to sell more guns throughout the next 4 years at least. So, yeah. With that, Chris.
Remember, this is a YouTube podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle that bell. If you listen on those other platforms, hit that follow button. Wow, I can't remember. I remember that. With that, everyone, have a good one.